Thank you for joining me for another episode of Run Level 0. Today we're getting back into the Linux desktop reviews. I've been looking forward to doing this ever since I announced the channel relaunch. I've been test driving MakuluLinux now, the Flash, Makulu Flash, for a couple of weeks. Anytime I bring you guys a desktop review, I want to ensure that I've been able to thoroughly vet it. I'm not going to be the type of reviewer where you look on Distrowatch and you see a Linux distro drop today and then tomorrow I'm giving it a review. I don't feel that that's fair to you guys. I want to be able to test drive things thoroughly before I bring you a review of the distro. Also, since I'm on the subject, a couple of channel news updates. Right now I am testing in a VirtualBox, but eventually I want to get a couple of spare drives for my system so that I can install the Linux distros on hardware to be able to do a hardware review for you. I feel that that's the only way to give a truly comprehensive overview of what's going on in a system. I mean, it will work, and I can show you the features in a VirtualBox, but eventually I do intend to get a couple of spare drives and do my installs on hardware, but that is for the future. That's not going to be anytime immediate. Also, regarding the channel itself, I am kicking around the idea of starting another YouTube channel and moving all of the gaming content over onto its own YouTube channel to keep it separate from the Linux and tutorial stuff. So that would actually be if I do that, I would actually make it my third YouTube channel. I have Run Level 0, I have Southeast Woodcraft, and then I have, which that one is getting a remake and reboot soon as well. And then I would have the gaming side. So I just don't want to bite off too much at this point. But that is an idea that I'm having. I realize that my Linux base is completely separate from my gaming base, and I want to be able to give both sides their own dedicated environment, because I know that if you're subscribing to me for Linux, you really don't need to see when I'm posting gaming content. That can get kind of annoying. So I'm working on that now. Okay, enough of the updates. Let's dive into Makulu Flash. Man, I've driven this thing for a couple of weeks now, like I said, and I've really been a fan of Makulu and the work that Jacques has done over there. Man, how long? It's been like almost 5 years now. When you look at the first MakuluLinux review that I did, and when I pulled this up a few minutes ago, it really hit me. On October 31st, 2013 was the first time I reviewed Makulu. And Jacques, it doesn't seem like it's been that long, man. It's been a minute. But being able to see where Makulu started, he started out with an amazing product to begin with, but to be able to revisit it nearly 5 years later and see where he's taken the project and what Makulu has become, it's really impressive, man. Makulu is definitely worth a look. Let's see, Makulu Flash specifically says that it's built on MakuluLinux custom-built Debian framework. I like systems built on Debian. Debian has always been stable, well, at least the stable branch has, and it provides a good base. You know, the packages, whenever you look at Linux and compatibility and availability of packages, Deb packages tend to be available for almost anything out there. So if it's available for Linux, it's going to be available on Debian. Sometimes you run into like Arch or even Red Hat based like Fedora and Cent. Sometimes things will be available for Debian based distros that won't necessarily be natively available in those. And so Debian, good choice. Let's see, it's based on Xfce. It says that it was built with kernel 4.13. Let's see where we're at now, because that should be updated. So we're going to uname-a. Yep, we're at 4.15 now for our kernel. Good. All right, so Codename Flash, release edition 14, came out in February/March 2018. And it's a semi-rolling. All right, so this version, end of life, is in 2020, so this would be considered an LTS, I believe. All right, awesome. And see what the notes say. Built on Makulu's custom-built base, has been in the works for nearly 2 years. MakuluLinux Flash Edition is designed as a semi-rolling release. It utilizes an Xfce desktop environment that is highly customizable and comes with a lot of rich features included. Beautiful desktop, plenty of eye candy. Yes, it always has. Makulu has always been a very aesthetically pleasing. Let's see. This is Debian and is very stable, very powerful. Users may also be surprised at how fast Flash runs, considering everything it has running. That's the reason for the name, fast like a flash. All right, and that is, that's no boast. This has been a very snappy system, very fast. I also applaud the use of Xfce. I think Xfce has been kind of the redheaded stepchild in Linux for a while. It's one of those desktop environments that people tend to either love or hate. I love it. It's not as popular as some of the more blinged out, I guess, desktop environments like KDE or even GNOME 3. But I've always felt that Xfce has struck a great balance between features and still being light on its feet, still being fast, not consuming a lot of resources. In fact, I believe my first desktop environment that I ever reviewed, some of the first videos I ever made on the channel were featuring Xfce, if I'm not mistaken. It's very customizable. So MakuluLinux Flash, I really have had no trouble running it this last couple of weeks. I did run into a couple of broken dependencies this latest batch of installs, and it looks like it wants to do some more installs now. Wow. I just updated last night, and now there's already 15 recommended updates available. I installed last night. I had a couple of broken packages, but I did an apt-get install-f, and it fixed all of those, and everything went in. So looking at the desktop it sports is very clean, and I admire that. I hate a cluttered desktop. When you install, all you're going to have is your trash icon and a link to your home folder. On the far left, we're going to have our main menu, and it looks like the Whisker menu, which was a real game changer for Xfce when it was introduced several years ago. And we'll get to the menu features in a few minutes. Let's see, we have a button to minimize all open windows and show the desktop, refresh repositories or your refresh sources. Let's see, this is your software center. When I first installed it, it came with AppGrid, which I like AppGrid, but this is your new software center, and I must say it works. Everything is clean, it's concise. You can look at all of your apps. There's a button where you can search for apps to install. You can manage your installed apps or check for updates here. So yeah, it functions as a software center, and it works very well. The browser of choice in this distro is Google Chrome, Xfce Terminal, which you saw me use just a few minutes ago. And one thing I will note about this, since I have it up, there is a fine layer of transparency to most of their windows. You can see there is a little bit of transparency right here on the terminal. I appreciate that that's installed or enabled by default. It gives a more finished look to the desktop. You take a look at the icons here. Makulu has never been one lacking for aesthetic pleasantness. It is a really beautiful desktop. It always has been from the beginning. Let's see, moving on. Lunar File Manager. This is the default file manager within Xfce, and when we open it up, I take a look at the icon set that's installed here. Very nice, very clean, simple, and they all fit well together. Nice icon theme. In the center, of course, you're going to have your taskbar open that will show you all of your open applications, and the taskbar does have a layer of transparency on its own. On the right hand side, you can change your System language, you have the indicator for your, let's see, open it up, indicator for your system updates. What's my password? Let's see what it has pending here. And that'll open up your update manager. Updates are very easy to manage on this system. You can either like showed a moment ago, you can either go through the Application Center or your Software Center, or you can handle it through Update Manager. There we go. And just a single click, you can install all the updates. I'll get to that later. You have your network connection monitor. Variety Wallpaper Changer. Now this has been a staple from the beginning with Makulu. When you look at Makulu, you can see that, in fact, I turned off my clock there. I'll go into preferences here to show you what we have available. So within Variety, Jacques has several, let me turn on the wallpaper selector as well. He has a wide selection of wallpaper already installed by default on the system. And you can see, I mean, they're just beautiful. You can find something, I think there's something here for just about everyone. But if you don't like the wallpapers that he has installed, you can turn this off. You can just uncheck to start Variety when the computer starts, or you can choose to right click and quit it and then set your wallpaper manually if you choose to do it that way. You can also right click and select next and previous wallpaper, and that'll just bring up what, the next or previous from the list of pre-installed. But Variety gives you a lot of control over your desktop. If you go into desktop effects, you can say show the clock, and there will be a nice big clock here. You can go in and say where do you want it. You can show random wise quotes for the day. I had mine turned off, but yeah. So you get a lot of choice with your desktop with Variety. I just prefer a more clean desktop environment myself. You have your output for your audio here. You can right click if you want to mute or show the mixer. Let's see, you have your power status, the calendar and clock, and this is the Synapse menu. It's called a menu, but it's really more like an omnibar for your system. And I like Synapse. You can access it either by clicking on the Synapse button, or doing Control Space will bring it up for you as well. And this searches everything on your system, from applications, places, documents, the whole thing. If you want to find something on your system, you just start typing and it'll come up. Google Chrome. If you want to search for catfish, you want to search for say leaf pad, bring up leaf pad right from here and it'll come up. So until you started using Synapse, you won't realize how much you've been missing Synapse. I mean, it's a great little application. And speaking of applications, let's go in here to the app menu and see what all it has installed. So when you click on the menu icon, your shortcuts, your categories are going to be on the left-hand side. Of course, it'll show your logged in user. You have a search bar where you can search for, if I can spell it, Chrome. You can search for leaf pad, something like that. Search for your terminal emulator. Functions very well. Next to that, we have the settings menu, or the settings button, and I do want to go into that for a moment. We click into that, you'll see that he has a control panel set up for you that is one of the better control panels that I've seen. Everything is categorized. It is simple. It is easy to use. You can find things very easily. I'm going to minimize this because, well, maybe not. Maximize it. Let's close it. I'm going to come back to that in just a minute because there is something pretty cool in there I want to show you. You can lock the screen. You can switch users, or you can pull up the dialog to log out, shut down, or reboot your system. So up top here we have the settings for our favorites, and these are the things that you can either pin to the favorites menu or things that you're going to use more often. Oh yeah, you can also drag to resize. to your heart's content. These are your most recently used. Here we go. What was this? You hover for a minute, it'll show you all your accessories. Let's see what we have in our accessories. We have a bulk rename utility, catfish file search, clamtk, which I've already spoken in my previous video on Linux and antivirus. I'm glad that clamtk is in here, and you do have full right-click integration to scan files and folders with clamtk. LeafPad, as far as text or as far as graphic interface text editors, I really like LeafPad. LeafPad just, it works. Of course, we have our calculators, password manager, Synapse. We just spoke. You can access it from there. Thunar, Variety, Xfburn for your optical media management. See, under Education, LibreOffice Math. For games, Mahjong, Solitaire, and Sudoku. See, under Graphics, what do we have? We have Penta, Nomax, LibreOffice Draw, Image Management, and a document viewer for your PDF documents. For your internet friends, you come with a messaging app. You have an email application and MailSpring, and of course Google Chrome. Under your multimedia, it comes with Audacious for your music, Kazam, Pulse Audio, VLC, Volti, and Xfburn again. For your Office suite, it does come with the full LibreOffice suite installed. Under Settings, and a lot of these you can get to on your Settings Manager, but here they are in a menu format. You do have a firewall that comes pre-installed that you can set up, which I highly encourage anyone to do. Okay, your Java settings. And then under System, of course, you have BleachBit again, boot repair, the bulk rename again. So Gparted comes installed for managing partitions, especially if you're using like thumb drives. You'll appreciate Gparted. If you are a little bit more advanced and you want a little finer control over your packages that are installed on your system, it does come with Synaptic Package Manager. And then again, your one-click update your repositories. So in all, I like the applications that come pre-installed on MakuluLinux Flash. What I think I like about it is that it has everything that you need out of the box, but not a lot of redundancy. That's one of the things that I've never liked in some Linux distros. There was one I reviewed several years ago. I won't name it, but when you open up a Linux distro and the thing has 5 browsers installed and 2 full Office suites, and you know, it's very easy with the sheer amount of applications that are available. It is very easy for a distro developer to over bloat their distro, if that makes any sense. And I really appreciate the restraint that Makulu has shown. Like I said, it has everything that you need and not a bunch of stuff that you don't. So it is what I would consider a very, very nice selection of applications out of the box. Okay, let's go back over to this settings, because you have a couple of options in here. And one of the things that impressed me about this settings manager, or this control panel here, is that it's an adaptive control panel. And I haven't seen too many of those. Now, what I mean by adaptive, by default, you have your Xfce, I believe it's called XFWM window manager that is handling your desktop. So by default, you'll be able to go into your window manager tweaks and be able to set up a few options in here as far as your size, compositor. You can set up your window transparency and all this stuff under XFWM. So we go back to all settings. You have your window manager here, where you can set how it behaves and some shortcuts and stuff. But Compass is also pre-installed but not enabled. So he actually has just included a single click here, turn compass on or off. It'll bring up a dialog. Do you want to turn compass on by default? Yes. Now the desktop reloads and you'll see that now you have your compass window settings and your Emerald Theme Manager. The options to manage the XFWM have disappeared. And now you have the transparency, you have your wobbly windows, you have your desktop cube set up now. So I thought that was a nice feature. You can come in and turn it off. Do you want to, and then it's the same dialog. Do you want compass turned on by default? This time you say no. It'll reload the desktop. And I found that you have to close this and then reopen it. And there's your original settings again. Let's take a peek while we're in here at the appearance options, because there's plenty to choose from. You have all kind of custom Makulu color options available. So if you're somebody that likes to play around with your desktop, by all means, have fun with it. For icons, you have several icon sets that are already installed. The Milky Makulu is what is installed, or what comes active by default. I really enjoy that. You have several font settings, just basic stuff in here for your appearance. But I was really impressed at how many custom color options came with it. That just lends to Makulu being a very polished, finished system. You have a manager in here. You can do we showed the window manager tweaks. You can manage your workspaces, your notifications, everything about your display, your keyboard, mouse and touchpad. Everything that you need to manage your system is right here in one spot, and it's a nice control panel. All right. Let's see, have I missed anything? Let's go back into the home folder right quick, because I want to show you again the right touch integration. Open up in a new tab. You can choose to send it to a side pane, desktop, ClamTK. You can send things directly into the virus scanner. You can send it to an optical media, move to trash, delete outright, rename. You can open a terminal, open a root terminal here. This is very handy if you're trying to install something from disk. Let's see, you can create a Samba share just by right-clicking a folder. You can create a Samba share for it to share something over the network. You can search within the file and folder. You can again scan for viruses from here, create an archive, or go to the system or go to the item properties. So yeah, MakuluLinux Flash. I've really enjoyed my time in it over the last couple of weeks. I have had no crashes whatsoever. It has proven to be a very stable system, and with the exception of last night, the couple of broken packages that I had, the updates have been smooth. And the little problems that I had last night, like I said, I just ran a apt-get install-f from the command line, and it fixed whatever broke. So whenever I run into something like that, take that kind of with a grain of salt, because it is running in a virtual. And looking at the packages that it was most likely due to it being installed in a virtual machine. But apart from that, I've had absolutely no issues with my time in MakuluLinux Flash. I do recommend people try it out. Jacques has done an amazing job creating a very polished, robust product that is really lacks nothing for a complete desktop environment. If you want something that has plenty of flash to it, no pun intended, but that has lots of features, that is visually pleasing, but yet quick and light on its feet, MakuluLinux Flash may be the desktop for you. Give it a try. If you've tried it already, let me know in the comments below what you think. If you have any questions regarding it, please ask. Feel free to ask. If I don't know the answer, I'll get in contact with Jacques and have him answer for you. He's always been very responsive to his community. All right. Well, thank you for joining me today, and I hope you'll join me next time.